It is a beautiful night for some football in South Florida, and we've got a good one for you. Plantation visiting the St. Thomas Aquinas Raiders with a region title on the line. Drew Goldfarb and Troy Stratford here. And Troy. Prep Zone on Fox Sports Florida is presented by UHealth Sports Medicine. When your body breaks down, we'll help you build it back up, stronger than ever. UHealth Sports Medicine will get you back in the game. For more information, visit uhealthsportsmedicine.com.
Thanks, guys. I just spoke with Deltron Sands, the St. Thomas running back that is currently on the table. He said it was a minor ankle tweak. He should be fine. He expects to play again soon. They're just working on him on the training table.
All right, thank you very much, Amy. That was our UHealth injury report on Deltron Sands, the running back right there. All the way for the last 5 or 10 yards on that run. And we are now sitting with a 7-0 game. St. Thomas Aquinas on top of Plantation. Their offense gets started early. That's just what they do, and they've scored here just about halfway through the first quarter.
And I think it was a blown opportunity by Plantation.
Welcome back to St. Thomas Aquinas High School, where the Raiders are up 28-0 over Plantation, and I am joined by Dr. Priscilla Dobbs of UHealth Sports Medicine at the University of Miami Hospital. You're an athletic trainer, and here we are at a football game, and one of the hot topics these days in football is concussions with these guys and just how dangerous they are. And so often they go misdiagnosed. Why is that?
So the problem with concussions is unlike a bruise or an abrasion or even a swollen knee, there's not a whole lot that you can see on the outside when someone has a concussion. And so a lot of the symptoms are subjective, or what the patient or the athlete will feel themselves. While there are a handful of symptoms that we can see on the outside, someone will look a little out of it or wobbly a little bit, most of the symptoms are on the inside. And so it takes the trained medical professional to ask the right questions and do the right testing. Some of the things that you can do to help to diagnose that and bring those subjective things out. There's some neurocognitive testing that you can do. You can ask them about their memory, recall, have them say the months of the year backwards, for example. There are some testing, impact testing or King-Devick tests, or some tests that we use to diagnose concussion as well.
Why is it so critical to make sure that it is diagnosed correctly and quickly?
Right. So concussion is like a bruise to the brain, and it can cause memory problems, concentration problems, problems with learning new information, as well as balance and function problems. The thing with concussions is that they're cumulative, and so the effects add up over time. And long term, we really are seeing that this is causing long-term memory problems, long-term problems with learning, which is a big deal for a kid in high school or college. So these things can happen over time. There's also some research looking at the effects of concussion and multiple concussions on emotions over time and aggression over time.
What are some of the new technologies or things that you guys implement at UHealth to help diagnose this and treat it?
Right, so we use a lot of research. So we're at the forefront of research, looking at the different ways to diagnose this, doing some things with accelerometers and seeing how hard the hits are and what kind of hit is going to create these concussion problems. We also work closely, like I said, with the impact testing. So testing before a baseline test so that we know what normal looks like for kids, and then testing after they've sustained a concussion to see what their neurocognitive function is over time. The King-Devick test that I mentioned before and the SCAT-3 are other tools that we use, both as baseline tests in the case of the King-Devick test and post-concussion tests in the case of both the King-Devick test and the SCAT-3. Those are things that an athletic trainer or a trained medical professional can do on the sideline to help to properly diagnose, and also that can be done to help get a return to play protocol and make sure that they're safe when they return.
For you, what is most fascinating about some of this cutting-edge research?
I just find it really interesting to look at what we thought at one time was just getting your bell rung and seeing how that has long-term effects on learning and on aggression and on emotion and on depression. I find that part so interesting. Psychology is one of my interests. So it's really interesting to see how that physical contact can turn into these emotional problems down the line.
Well, that is some really fascinating stuff, some great stuff going on in your role at University of Miami at UHealth. And guys, thank you so much to Dr. Priscilla Dobbs for joining us tonight. Back up to you.
Great job up front, again by the big horses, opening up a nice hole, third touchdown on the day.
Scarlett gets the TD to add to his numbers. Sands gets all the yardage on the drive to add to his numbers. So St. Thomas's running backs having themselves quite the night so far. Zach Cicero, he's connected.